Out of law school, I worked for Skadden Arps. They're a massive global corporate M&A law firm. As a young associate, I didn't understand, like most people coming out of law school, what a corporate associate does, what makes a corporate associate great at their job, what is it? And it took me a while to kind of understand that, and there wasn't a whole lot out there at the time. There were no books about the subject. I don't know if there are now. Fast forward 20 years now, and I've hired my first associate for my own law practice, and he's just killing it. He's amazing, and it got me thinking about why he's so good, and thinking back to back then and what my perspective on the world was, and if he's more talented than I am, which he is by as a young associate. I just think he kind of just gets it in a different way than maybe I did. And I think there's really still a question that a lot of law students probably have. They just want to know how to be good at their job, and law school doesn't teach you how to do that. So I will take a crack at helping you understand what makes a great corporate associate, especially a baby lawyer, let's say. You need to be really good up here and down here. And by that I mean you need to keep perspective and understand what's going on the deals and the transactions from a high level, and you need to be way down in the weeds sweating the small stuff. And so more specifically, the deals, the transactions you work on, let's take a merger and acquisition, you'll be knee deep in these documents. You've got to always remember what this document is, where it fits in the overall picture. So I analogize to law school. In the beginning of law school, when you're in your first contract course, you're knee deep in courses learning specific little principles. You're way in the weeds, trying to understand an element of contract law. But at the end of the semester, you're required to kind of get an overarching view of the world and how all that stuff sort of slots in. And if you were like me, early on you realized, hey, down in the weeds here, I'm a little bit lost. And so I was searching for outlines my second week of law school. How do I get perspective on this subject? I'll be just so confused down here. Same thing as a corporate attorney. You've got to figure out a way to understand what's going on this deal. So if that's a mentor, if that's books or articles or what it is, understand what these people are doing in the world, fundamentally what's going on, what do each of these documents accomplish. Stay way high up on why this stuff all matters and how it fits together. It'll help you immensely. And it'll help you understand as time goes on and you get more knowledge, you still need perspective, because it's very common that people say of corporate lawyers, they're not commercial, they're not practical, they don't understand, they can't weigh risk. Part of that is just getting lost down here. But don't spend all your time up here. You've got to get into the weeds. And it took me a while to understand that part of the job is proofreading. I mean, it's painful. It makes my head hurt. But you've got to read that document again, because if it says, the panties agree instead of the parties, it'll be held against you. Clients they'll draw a conclusion, many of them, about what you did or didn't do on a deal. God forbid you don't change a name on a signature line from your last deal. They'll think you didn't do anything on the file. So you've got to remember that you're really held to a high standard, both way up here and way down here. So let me give you a few more practical tips about how to accomplish all of that. Number one, work hard. That's the one thing you can control. Okay, I know work smarter, not harder is a great mantra. Look, forget that, okay? Or I don't want you to sell your soul for it, particularly if there's no payoff at the end and you hate the job, but at the same time, if you want to be good at it, put in the hours. You can control that. I don't really know, you won't know if you're working smarter, so work harder. Put in the time, put in a little bit of extra effort. It really will help. Number two, get insatiably curious about the world and about your job and about what your clients are doing and why they're doing it in the way you're doing it. Why is this deal an asset purchase? Why is this deal a stock purchase? Why is this done as a merger? Why do companies merge at all? When I was at Skadden as a baby corporate associate, a junior associate, I remember often asking, well, why are we structuring it that way? And the answer would be, well, it's for tax reasons. Okay, what tax reasons? Ask the tax people. None of us understood why. Now, probably because I was talking to a junior associate just a couple years older than I was, rather than a partner. But the point being, look for those answers. Figure it out. It'll give you that high-level perspective. It'll help you understand how this stuff works. It'll make it all a lot more interesting. So just ask a lot of questions. Why is that called the stock purchase agreement and that's called the securities purchase agreement? Is there a difference? Just, I've got a 3-year-old daughter and she asks, why? Become that 3-year-old that you're trying. You have to do it. maybe not a million wives of one a partner at the same time, that kind of thing, but be judicious about it. But my point is, like, get curious about the world and why things are being done the way they are. Get perspective and ask questions and really dig in and tear that all apart. Third thing you should do, and this will help all of it, and it'll fit in, it'll help it all make sense, is try and find a mentor. So I'm not sure how much the practice has changed at Skadden. I was working for Andrews Kurth about 10 years ago, but both of those are kind of in the rearview mirror, and neither, they were excellent law firms, but formal training wasn't a huge part of that firm experience. There was onboarding, there was introductory things, but you're really kind of expected to learn things sort of by osmosis and by being intensely curious. But one of the things that helped me a lot was having a mentor figure, having someone that kind of brought me under his wing a little bit and was someone I could ask those questions of and have a relationship of. So that person, they won't always find you. And depending on the firm and the person, it might not exactly be appropriate to say, will you be my mentor? It might not be quite that formal, but if you could find yourself someone who seems like they're interested in explaining things, helping you learn things, answering your questions, they're receptive. So you'll ask one attorney, hey, why are we doing it this way? That's just how it's done, right? And another would say, yeah, it's a good question, right? Here's kind of what's going on. Find that person and see if you could get more projects with that person. They are everywhere, these people in the world. The people really want to help others learn what to do and how to do it, and it helps them. I mean, I love it with Robert, who's working with me. It helps me think through and become a better lawyer to talk it through. So try and find yourself someone like that at the firm, and that will help tremendously. So it's not easy to be a baby lawyer. You don't get trained in law school for what you're expected to understand and to do. Know always that everyone else is kind of winging it too. Don't lack confidence because you don't know what's going on. I mean, it's okay, but take those tips to heart and apply them, and I think it'll help you tremendously on your career path. So if you've got any questions for me, you want to reach out, I'm happy to share what wisdom, what knowledge I happen to have picked up through the years. So please don't hesitate.